Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Eel Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Mike. So let's get right into this. We have a jam packed episode like we normally do. This one, we're going to be talking about the latest trailer for Skeleton Crew, which I just recently found out, even though apparently it's been known forever, that it's a show and not a Disney Plus exclusive movie. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Nope.
We're then going to move on to talk about all the shows that have been announced for next year. And I say it that way because they're the only ones that are being announced now, and we'll see if they either change or whatever it may be. Um, I think with them announcing it the way they did, I think we're pretty much all set. Um,
Yeah,
at
maybe the
least
dates are going to change
that's
like a
more
little
what I'm
bit,
thinking than
but
anything else. I don't think it's going to be anything like crazy other than like date switching.
mhm.
And then we'll move on to talking about Penguin, specifically the Top Hat episode, and then moving on to the last two episodes of Agatha All Along, and then ending with a character spotlight from me. And spoiler alert, it's going to be about Jennifer Kale because it's the last witch on my agenda. So let's get right into this and talk about the Skeleton Crew. We definitely got a lot more of I guess I guess we so like the first couple of trailers were about like how those kids were before leaving, like who they were and kind of like that. I also felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you not feel like there's less kids in this trailer than there were in the others, or am I crazy?
I mean, I think in the other trailers it was emphasizing the kids, and now this trailer was emphasizing the
The
world
specific.
around them.
Okay.
So it showed more of Jude Law, what his character is going to be, and the parents with or who the adults
We'll say that
that
for now, just because we don't know.
um, because we don't know, um, and obviously what the kids are encountering because they're getting into mischief, so
We
they're whatever problems they're running into while exploring the galaxy.
we also know a little bit of the timeline because of
A
this
little.
trailer. We
Yep, it
know that it
was.
had to have been after the prequel series.
Yep.
We
um
don't know if it's after the original series or in the middle of it.
yeah, no, we don't know that yet. I think yeah,
Well,
it's
because
at the
they
very least the original series has started. um
yes, because they have the Republic credits and they're like, who carries this stuff now?
yeah.
And like, who carries this stuff still? And that made me think. But also because of how old the ship was, I mean, it's tough because Star Wars is a weird time frame. Um,
Although we have confirmation that Hondo's ship was spotted.
do not do this to me.
I'm getting disappointed that you just gave me that look of who am I talking about.
No, no, no. I knew exactly what you're talking about. I was
uh,
no, I was legitimately trying to think. I was like, I don't think I saw a ship, but there were a couple of ships. But then I was like, maybe it was that one, but it wasn't like I got to see the whole ship. And then I'm thinking to myself,
uh,
was it something else that was shown that I wasn't paying attention to?
yeah, there was a couple like quick clips of like, oh, the ships that are around,
Well,
and
because
people are
the
saying that.
idea is like I remember them saying like, oh, there's bloodthirsty pirates after you or something along those lines, and then we
Mhm.
saw the pirates, and then I was like, then I was, because of what you said, I was like, but that I don't think that was their ship. They were inside somewhere, so I'm like, so that's not what he's talking about. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean that's what
I,
people are saying. Like I said, they saw the ship.
I will not be
um
disappointed again, Michael. I need more Hondo in my life.
I mean, I would love to see him come into live action. I would absolutely
I'm
love it.
curious at who they would have play him though, because
Def.
you legitimately need somebody who is charismatic. Like, I know it sounds stupid to say, but like the first person that comes to my head every single time is Johnny Depp. But
Because he
most
played a charismatic pirate.
but because he like Hondo is legitimately Star Wars version of Jack Sparrow. Like
Yep,
legitimately, there's
100%.
no
Like
like there's
it's
no way around it. Like he yes he does everything for himself, but he does actually have a heart. So it's like it's completely the same.
yep. No, I mean, I agree with you. I would love Johnny Depp, but obviously I don't think Johnny Depp is going to play him. Um
Although I will say, like he's been known to do like parts like that where he would enjoy more than make money. He has done that in the past.
I was more talking about him not willing to play the character because of his beef with Disney right now
Oh
after.
no, no, that's fair. No, that's 100% fair. I'm just stating in general. Um,
But yes,
but
I would agree with you. I think he would be willing to play that character if he was willing to work with Disney.
Agreed. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like he's one of those people who, and I've always thought this was like, don't get me wrong, he's worth a lot of money, and I will never state that whatsoever. But I think there's some movies he's done where he legitimately just wanted to do because they were fun.
Yeah,
Like I mean, legitimately, and
I'm
it
sure there are
showed.
some actors that are willing to do that.
Well, Keanu is another one, and so is Jim Carrey.
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, for goodness sakes, I've never met a cast as so Academy Award winning than Sonic 3. Idris
Yeah, you know.
Elba. I mean, Idris Elba. We have friggin' Keanu Reeves, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey
Uh-huh.
playing two different characters.
And I'm pretty sure I mean I'm pretty sure Jim Carrey after Sonic 2 said he was done with the movies and came out of retirement, quote unquote, came out of retirement to play this third movie. So I mean,
Well, his exact words were he would only come out if God himself wrote the script and it was written in gold ink. And that would be the only way he would do this. So clearly, Sonic
clearly
3
it's a good movie.
clearly Sonic 3 is written by God himself. Um, but no, I think it's just one of those things where he had so much fun and he had so much freedom
Yeah.
that he just doesn't care. And to be honest with you, it sounds like everybody is like doing this movie because they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they've done a good job with these two movies, so I mean,
oh, absolutely. Plus they had the show and everything else. And I'm curious if they're going to add on to it.
oh, I
They
completely forgot about the show. I have to watch that. I actually
okay.
completely forgot about it.
But anyway, so that's Skeleton Crew. We didn't get a lot, but we got some. We got some things.
We saw
Um,
more of the world around them,
and it
like
looks like it's going to be mainly focused on three particular children,
yeah,
which I don't
it
think we
seems like
got
it
from
so far.
the original trailers. Which again isn't a big problem.
The thing that I have to say,
Uh oh.
and it's
Uh
just no, it's like the Star Wars fan base has gotten so bad where we've seen these trailers and they're already starting to like people are Disney has been doing a very bad job of protecting the actors and standing up for like whenever they're getting hate or whatever. And people are saying, Disney better step up and protect these kids because they do not deserve to be mistreated by fans that just want to be assholes.
I mean, I get it.
And I'm seeing so many hate comments and saying like these kids don't deserve to be protected if they want to be bad actors and do crappy roles, they deserve all the hate they get and be bullied and all that stuff. It's like, what is wrong with society?
The other thing too is it's like this is what kills me because, right, this is supposed to be Star Wars version of the Goonies. Okay.
Yeah, this is
Um,
this is literally supposed to be a kids show.
Well,
Like,
not only that, it's like first off, one, you're right, but the kids are meant to be kids.
yeah,
Kids are not good. Like kids aren't meant to be able to handle situations appropriately. Like
hmm
that's the idea of children. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but it's like that's what's going to make this show so good because Jude Law is going to be the voice of reason the entire season,
hmm
and
yeah.
not the
I mean,
movie like I thought.
yep. No, I
I
mean,
I mean, and again, I mean, I'm obviously going to be watching it. There's no question there.
yeah.
It's going to be a
It,
nice
it
holiday.
looks fun.
I mean, it's here's the thing. Do I think it's going to be an award-winning show? No. Am I does it look like I'm going to be entertained? Yes. And honestly, if they have Hondo there, it might be the best show ever, and I think it'll get a lot of praise
And
over
if Hondo's in the show, this is gonna beat out Wanda. This is gonna beat out Penguin. This is
this
gonna
is
be
this
Scott's
is
number one.
this is going to beat out every single thing imaginable. If there's no Hondo, I don't know. Maybe it's at the same level of acolytes. We'll decide later. Um, but my point I'm making is just like I'm looking forward to it because it's different. I
Yeah.
like different. I think the big thing is we're so heavily focused on Jedi's and Skywalkers and that there's nobody else in the universe. But hello, there is an entire galaxy. Hence why it's called a galaxy far, far away.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's like it's absolutely insane how people are willing to suspend their beliefs and say we're seeing magic using space wizards. We're perfectly fine with that, but then when there's something that's a little bit deviated from what you want, it's absolutely deserves hate and all this other
I mean,
BS.
I sent you the meme where it was supposed to be the scene between Wanda and Doctor
Yep.
Strange and
Doctors. Yep.
yeah, and Wanda's playing Star Wars and Doctor Strange is Marvel, and she's like, "How is it that you go around and having singing witches, and the world praises you, but when I do it, the world hates me." And
Hmm.
it's sad but so true. Um, because it's, I mean, for goodness sakes, Agatha is, I mean, some of their episodes like hit um eight, like I think the biggest episode, which is episode what, 7, the one with Lilia when it was the her death,
7. Yep.
7, that that broke 8 million views in the first 24 hours.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a great episode.
No,
I
no,
mean,
I understand that, but
uh,
but like by definition, that is not a failure. And like I
no,
know that sounds weird to say, but it's like some people are saying this was the worst show ever, and I'm thinking to myself, what show did you watch?
I know. No,
And it's been
it's
nothing but praised. It's been nothing but praised like you wouldn't believe. Um, but anyway, we're gonna get off topic for a little bit, so I'm gonna stop there. Let's go into talking about the latest update from Disney Plus. So the big thing is,
oh, yeah.
let me at least do this one because I know the first two by heart. In
Okay.
November, we're gonna be getting Deadpool and Wolverine streaming on Disney Plus, which
No.
I am super excited about. Shut up, Mike. And then in December, which I believe is December 20th or 21st, is going to be season 3 and the final season of What If.
Uh-huh. That is right.
And then I remember the rest of them, but I don't remember the order. So I know it's Daredevil. Am I right next?
So, so what day did you say for season 3 of What If?
I thought it was December 20th.
22nd.
Ah, fired.
So close.
Honestly, you know what's funny? I literally said either the 20th or the 21st, and I still was wrong.
You were
Um,
still wrong. You were close.
no, no, I was definitely very close, and I'm proud of myself.
Then next up is January 25th, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh, which,
Um,
by the way, was hilarious watching him hit a guy with a brick.
with the brick. Yeah, I'm seeing so many comments go like, "Oh, supposed to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but yet getting throwing a brick into someone's
Well,
head."
clearly it was on accident, as you can see from his reaction.
The reaction after that, oh, I was
Oh,
I laughed real hard after that.
oh no,
Um,
that one tickled my fancy.
then the next one on March 4th is Daredevil.
That's it. All right, so it's Daredevil in March, which I'm happy about. We
Yep.
also know for sure that oh, we know that what's his name is back as Punisher for sure.
Yeah. I forget his name, but yes, Punisher is officially back.
Yep. And the
Um,
only reason why I say this because he was 100% in the trailer.
yep. He was
Shout
in the last couple of trailers, so
Oh, that's right. No, he was. He
yeah.
was. I forgot. Um, and then
Uh,
shockingly, Kingpin is back. But I will
yep.
say this: Vanessa's back, which I thought was very awesome. Oh, you never
Remember, I
seen
didn't.
it?
Yeah, I didn't see it, so
He's
I
got a
don't.
girlfriend. Mike, you gotta watch it.
I'm waiting for some time, man. We haven't had much free time for
No,
me
no,
to
no,
watch
no, no,
it.
no, 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 no. No, watch it on your own damn time, okay? Actually, you know what? The winter's coming, and you'll actually be able to watch it before it comes out. So you know what?
That's my.
Fine.
I mean, that's my plan. That is my plan.
So you know what? Fine. So then it's Daredevil
giving
Reborn.
me giving me slack when someone hasn't even watched. I don't know
Hey,
what.
hey, hey, hey. DC is a slow thing for me. All right, it's not my
There's
forte.
a lot of things that are slow for you.
That's valid, but more what I'm getting at here is the shows. So continue. After
Okay.
Daredevil
After Daredevil,
is it
all we have
zombies?
to. Nope, we have to wait till June 24th, and that's Ironheart.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's such a big gap. Oh no, they probably have other stuff. That's stupid. Continue.
Yeah, there's probably a couple of other things.
I'm also thinking probably what's it called season 2.
What's it called? Season through 2.
Andor. I almost froze for a second. Oh
It's
no,
just
because I
like
wanted to say acolyte, and I was like, that's not right. That's not right. Andor.
that.
Andor.
Okay, yeah, no, but yeah.
Mike's like, that's so stupid, and then he hears it, he's like, oh no, you're right.
No, my initial response was I was still baffled by the what's it called season 2. I'm like, there's a lot of things that could be what's it called. So you want to be
No,
more
no,
specific?
that is fair. Because legitimately, there's so many.
So then August 6th is Eyes of Wakanda.
Yes, which is animated, which I'm not
Yep.
mad about, but I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be like a live action show.
I had heard it was going to be animated, but the
Yeah.
fact that we hadn't heard anything like officially like seen or heard anything about it, I
Well, they
wasn't.
had different names for this, like
Yeah.
throughout the. So they've had this project now like planned out for a while, in the sense of like having a spot. Like it was going to
Hmm.
be a Wakanda show, but we never
Yeah.
knew what it was going to be.
Never knew like the real details
Right.
of it, and we still don't really. But
No, no, no.
um,
We know that there's gonna be death.
yeah.
That's the only thing we
now,
know for sure.
now the fact that you thought Marvel Zombies was going to be coming after Daredevil kind of baffles me when
Because it's Halloween.
it would fit perfectly in the Halloween time slot. So
Oh,
October
that's.
25th is Marvel
Oh.
Zombies.
Wait, is it a show or a movie?
It's a show. It's a
Okay.
four episode limited series as far as I know.
And it's 15 hours per episode?
I hope.
To be fair, though, all joking aside, the comic book series isn't all that long, any of them. Um,
Is it? Oh, okay.
no, so I'm not that surprised. I'm just curious at where they're gonna start. Are they gonna start
Hmm.
from the beginning, or has it kind of like with What If? Did it already happen, and we're just dealing with what's left?
We'll have to see.
I'm guessing it's gonna be more towards we're gonna get flashbacks of what happened, but realistically, we're gonna be starting like in the middle or
Yeah,
towards the
I
end.
mean,
So
we already kind of got a taste of it in What If.
well,
So
it's
I
gonna be
mean,
completely different because they
it's
have
going to be completely
well,
different.
because
But I
they have
mean,
new
like we've already
people.
gotten a taste of it.
Because it's
So
going to be like basically all the new people from Marvel going to be the survivors, like all the new
yeah,
characters. All right, so that makes more sense. It was either going to be the summer or Halloween, and I don't know why I thought summer, but after that,
and the last thing, December 25th, Wonder Man.
which okay, can we talk about that for a minute?
That one came
Because
out of left field to me.
well, no, they talked about this for a bit. You saw who's in it.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I mean, obviously I saw it. I
You didn't recognize the greatest Marvel villain and comic relief ever to exist in this world?
oh yes, okay, I did. Okay, yep, okay.
I like how you're like, Scott, I have no idea who Wonder Man is. Like, I have no idea.
As no, as soon as you said comic relief, I was like, who did I see that was supposed to be a bad guy? Then oh,
The greatest Mandarin there's ever was.
yep. I'm that one just again caught me off guard. Just like, why are you here?
So I'm very interested in when he gets his powers because so Wonder Man stays a reality star even with his powers.
hmm
So like he's legitimately a celebrity even as a superhero. Like not like Iron Man celebrity. I'm talking about like movie star celebrity. And like continues to try to be like a star in the movies while still trying to be a hero. But in this
just makes me think of what's his name from Mortal Kombat,
yeah, actually
Johnny.
yeah, no I better personality.
Like
Well, all right,
not.
let me rephrase it this way. Let me rephrase it this way. I shouldn't say that. You know what? Because there's been some renditions of Johnny Cage that are more redeeming for sure. Um, actually, you know what? That's probably the best analysis. Period.
I'm
No,
just
no,
gonna. I'm not even gonna try to fix it.
no. There's nobody else I can even come close to because that is legitimately the same. Um, and it's hilarious because I think in this he's going to be playing a character in a movie called Wonder Man, and then he'll become Wonder Man.
Oh, that's funny, actually.
So so it's like it's a meta thing, which is even funnier.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the last thing for what they've announced anyway.
yep. And obviously, we'll see if something else comes up. Then we'll know. Obviously, we know in July we got two Marvel movies, one Marvel movie coming out and one DC movie coming out.
Yes,
Um,
Fantastic Four and Superman, right?
yep.
Okay, good.
So it's gonna be a jam. It's gonna be a jam packed year.
Well, yeah, yeah. I'm like
And
I don't even I was going to say something and I was like, no, you're right. All right, so are you ready to move on from there?
yeah, let's move on. You can start talking. I just want to close the door.
Okay. Well, Mike's leaving. I'm going to say bad things about him. So the
Do
big
it.
thing here is we're gonna. I know you can still hear me. That's why I said it. We're gonna be talking about Penguin, and this episode of Penguin was incredible.
This episode was, at, like you said, incredible, disturbing. It was everything that you can think of in this episode.
I was legitimately trying to figure out how they were gonna make us because you had talked about this many times, like countless times, that supposedly by the end of this we're gonna hate Penguin, and to be honest with you, I definitely hated him in this episode.
Yeah, yeah. He's not a good guy.
All right, so this episode gave us the past of Penguin to figure out kind of what happened to his brothers.
And before you get into it, I just need to say, because I know I texted you about it for a second,
Oh,
but
I legitimately, so you know what's hilarious? I when you texted me that, he I don't remember I now I'm questioning it because I think they had just started playing, like I had just started seeing the way he was looking at his brothers, and I was like, oh my god, he kills his brothers. And I was like, how does he do it though? And you had
yep.
texted me like, oh my god, and I was like, oh my god, he does it. Like I didn't even need any other clarification. I was like, oh my god, he killed his brothers. How did he do it? How did he do it?
How did he get from A to B? Come on.
Well, no, I'm legitimately like, okay, I'm like, all right. So Mike has just confirmed without confirming that they're dead, and the thing that kills me is it's like you did none of that. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, he just told me that they're dead.
Mike just gave it away. He gave it away.
Mike told me everything. Mike told me that he killed them, and now I need to know how. Um, but yeah, so that was an emotional roller coaster. I was not prepared for it, and there were so many twists and turns that I was baffled by. And then the ending was incredible because there's no way they're killing Sophia in this. They can't.
I don't think they are. There's rumors going around right now that
She's
in
supposed to be
Batman
playing a huge role in the next
in
movie.
Batman 2. Yep.
But what kills me on that, right, is like that's stupid for them to say because we wanted to be surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
Um
and I know Mike. I mean, I know I'm jumping around, and I do apologize. But like this episode was just so good.
I mean
Oh, like I honestly was incredible. And
like we talked about it a little bit in one of the previous episodes when Vic took his mother to the slums and Penguin like curled up with her in bed. And you and I were both like, this is uncomfortable. Like how are we supposed to react to this? And they just like took that and brought it up tenfold in this episode because it's just like, and I was sitting there watching it with Steph and she's watching and she's like, does he have the thing for his mother? And I'm like, I don't
I don't
know,
think it's
but
I.
I
So my whole thing is it's like I don't think it's the way we're perceiving it for sure,
it's definitely not, but
but it's definitely creepy. Like
yeah,
like
like
I'm not gonna sit here and be like it's perfect mother and son love. No, it's crazy. But I don't think
no, he was so jealous that his brothers were taking his mother's love that he wanted them. He basically killed them. Not basically. He he killed them because he wanted his mother's love.
yeah.
Ugh, so weird.
Well, he didn't want to. So here's how I took it, and that doesn't make it any better. Um, but I took it as he was jealous that his brothers were getting any attention from mom,
Yeah.
and he was like, and I don't think he went. I don't think he left that day going to kill his brothers.
No, he
He
didn't
saw an
lock them in
opportunity.
there.
He
Yeah, he did
he,
not lock them in there expecting them to die.
but
But
he used it to his opportunity to not care.
yeah. And then as the night progressed,
Which, by the way, that okay. So we're gonna go right into and just talking about the past first, and then we'll go into the present. Because there's two parts of the past. There's the part of what happened to his brothers, and then what happens with his relationship with his mother at the end,
Mhm.
which both were disturbing. Um,
I thought you
so
were about to do like the French kiss again. I was like,
no,
don't you dare.
no, that would have been funnier. No, I have a headache, and I was trying to like rub the middle part, but it's even funnier that you thought that. So I don't think he planned on killing his brothers. However, when they insulted him and basically was like messing with him because they know he's crippled, that's
Mhm.
when he got pissed and said, "You know what? I'm locking him in." And then he was like, and he left off storming mad. Then
Mhm.
he was like, "Oh, it's raining. This is gonna work in my favor. Mom, let's watch a movie together." And I'm just like, and to be fair, I do not get mad at his mother because back then it wasn't all that crazy that kids would go out for a bit. Like I'm not
Yeah.
blaming her at all.
No, no, no. I don't blame her at all. I mean, she probably. I mean, her son said that her kids were going to the movies, so she took his word for it. Um, I mean, granted, after whatever, how long the movie was over, probably should have, been like, hey. But then again, he was also getting her drunk.
Yes, but she also, and we'll talk about this later. We also know what happened when she called the police,
Yes,
and that was only
remind me.
because of. Well, no, because that was only at the time when Sophia was interrogating her. She she had a dementia episode.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yep.
But
Yep. Yep.
anyway, so we're gonna touch on that in a minute because I want to stay in the past. So clear as day, the kids drown. And by the way, the most disturbing way to show that somebody's dead without showing their body, in my opinion. Like we see like the water like slowly coming out from the bottom of the grate, and then all of a sudden by the end it's covering out all parts, and you're like, oh, they're dead.
I mean, you just even as it's progressing, you hear the cries
Right.
behind the door,
Like, come on,
and then
Ozzy, let us out.
before before it that so the time where they're showing it at the bottom, you hear the gargling, and then you see it at the top, and you don't hear it anymore, and that's when it sends the chills, and it's like, oh my god, that he did it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And so the second part, so at the end, almost at the very end of the episode, we get another flashback of what happened. I want to say a couple weeks, maybe a month. I'm not sure how long
I
after the
wouldn't go
movie.
that far. I'd probably say at most a couple of weeks.
Okay, but you get my point I'm making. It's unclear how long it's been, but clearly Oz has been trying to take care of his mother,
Hmm.
and she finally snaps out of nowhere in the most positive way, which is also weird.
Yeah.
Where she's like, "We're going dancing. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna just do it up." And she takes him out and basically is like, "Oz, you better take care of your mother. You better make sure that I'm not living in the slums no more. I want to be living in high rises. I don't want nobody next to me, nobody above me. I want nothing. I want to be the boss. You better get me that, Oz. You promise me?" And he's like, "Yeah, ma." And that was it. And the sad part is, I am doing it as a joke, but legitimately not that far off.
No, that's basically what happened. Like 100%. Like
Like as much as I did it as a joke, it legitimately was the dialogue. Um, so let's get to the present, which was a scary present. Let me tell you,
a lot happened in this present as well. Like
a lot of
they
stuff I wasn't prepared for. Things happened in like I'll say this, I definitely expected certain things to happen, in the sense of like this person most likely is going to die. However, never would have guessed how they died. And to be fair, Mike knows exactly who I'm talking about.
I thought it was going to happen next episode, to be honest.
I thought it was going to happen this one because he was going to try to get the upper hand, which I was sort of correct, but not at all the way. So anyway,
No.
let's get right into this. So it starts off with Penguin going into where his mother and Vic were. He can't hear his mother. In fact, he's calling Vic and his ma, and nobody's
Well, he
answering.
gets there and sees the door open,
Yes,
and
and so
that's
he
when he
pulls out a
starts
gun.
yelling.
Doesn't he pull out a gun?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And so he begins to look for his mom and Vic, and he only finds Vic, who I'm not going to lie to you, I thought was dead for a moment.
No, I definitely knew. I didn't think he was dead. But I didn't think he was going to be really like. I thought he was going to be more battered than he was.
I think Sophia just wanted to make a point where I'm taking her, and that's it.
No, absolutely. She didn't care about him.
And to be fair, I think she only kept him alive just for the. Or let me rephrase it this way. I don't think she would have cared either way, but her idea was to only hit him once to give him the chance of surviving, so Oz knows exactly who took her,
Yep.
right? And granted, very successful because he wakes up and is like, "Oh no, Sophia was here. He took your mother," and he's like, "What the hell?" Then we see Salvador downstairs with his crew coming up the stairs, and he tells Vic to run. So Vic opens up a window and gets out of there, and Penguin takes a beating with a baseball with a golf club so hard it was beautiful.
Yeah. No, that was a good. That was. I mean, it was nothing really more to it. He got a little. He didn't even get a big beating. It was just a little bit, so that way Sal could get out some frustration. For obviously, this is the first time he's seen him since he's killed his family.
which
So
we're gonna talk about in a minute because it compounds. So basically,
like
he
he
ends
held
up.
a lot of restraint to just do what he did.
You could clearly tell he was too,
Yeah.
um, because legitimately he wanted him dead right then and there, and the only
Hmm.
reason why he didn't was because he needed him for a short period of time. However, once he got what he wanted, he was going to enjoy it way too much.
Oh yeah.
And to be fair, can I blame him? No, not at all. But
No.
anyway, so he basically wants to proof that his mother's alive. So Sophia's basically like, "Oh no, I'm making breakfast for your mother," and he's like, "No, no, no, I want proof that she's alive." And that's when Sal's like, "Remember that time you went into Blackgate and we had a gentleman's agreement, and how I had to trust you? How did that go for me? You know what? We're gonna have that same trust right now. You're gonna show me where the drugs are in your whole operation, and then we'll see what happens." So Penguin shows him where the operation is. A couple of his men are shot and killed right away.
Yep.
Not all of them though. And then Penguin does something that is very penguiny. Um, and honestly, it's the best way ever. He goes, Sal, I can't get the smell of burnt hair and flesh out of my nose. I gotta ask, did your wife wear a lot of hairspray or something? Because she just cooked up, she just burnt up so quick, and that's when he snaps. So once he goes to go hit him, that's when he signals his worker to shut off the lights, and that's when all hell breaks loose, and it becomes the biggest brawl I've ever seen in my life. Not really, but it just was a great fight between Penguin and Salvador, because let's be honest, um, Penguin was getting his butt kicked. Like it was not a um even fight at all.
No. Penguin would go to get a couple hits in, but otherwise Salvador was just
And in fact,
mm,
the only
was
reason why uh Salvador lost was because he legitimately had a heart attack and died.
yeah. He worked way too hard to get that revenge, and it backfired.
He kept his anger in too long, and it literally made his heart boom. And I
uh,
think my favorite part was, "What's the matter, Sal? Huh? You're not man enough to handle me?"
just
And I'm
I'm
like,
just sitting there like, oh, you're such a smack talker.
and I think what's hilarious is at first I was like, "That's so stupid," and then I realized, but that's so Penguin.
Yep,
It
that
like
is
as much as I thought it was stupid in the sense of like in the grand scheme of things, it is so much Penguin. It's hilarious. So we then have an interaction between Sophia and Penguin's mom, which is a duo I would have never in a million years thought that this would have been the duo I wanted to see. You know what I'm saying? Like Sophia
hmm
and Penguin's mother were like incredible together.
yeah, no, they had that was great chemistry, the two of them. Like that I wasn't expect like you said, I wasn't expecting it to be as great as it was, and they were just going back and forth,
And she's
and
just like, you know what? You're playing the same game that my son's been watching for years, and you're
uh
just
huh,
you're just playing catch up. He knows things that before you're ever gonna do it. And you know what? You think just because you changed your name, you're different. You're still the same, and you ain't doing anything different. And to be honest with you, I think that affected her more than anything else. I gotta say. And granted,
oh
she
yeah.
does admit that later, but I mean, at that moment, it looks like it. And
I
then
mean, you could see it on her face, the realization that that she like you said, she says it later how I keep telling myself I'm doing something different than my family, but I'm just doing exactly the same thing.
yes. And the other thing too is we then see her have a break, so she has the dementia issue right then and there. And then she starts because Sophia brings up her children, the two that died, and then we kind of hear what her thoughts were when she had called the police because there obviously had to have been some sort of detective that went to go speak to her, and she basically was like, "Hey, why are you wasting all this time speaking to me when you should be out there looking for my kids?"
Hmm.
And so that's when Sophia's like, "Hey, like, do you know where you are right now? Like, what year do you think it is?" And then she just backhands him right to the face. And honestly, I think Sophia was actually really one impressed, but two, there were two things to this, right? She clearly knows that Penguin gets his moxie from his mother for sure, and
That's for
I
sure.
and I think she figured that out rather quickly. However, she also knows she's not well, and Although when she slapped her, she definitely meant it, for sure. Sophia would have
Oh, yeah,
never.
she had it all there at that point.
Correct, but she would have never. Sophia would never let herself get that close to her had she not been sick. If you understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying. So like Sophia, although she told the guard to leave it alone, right? Because realistically, in Sophia's mind, and I know this is weird to say, it was her own fault she got slapped.
It was her own fault, but I mean, it was more along the lines of I think Sophia respected the I want to say like the spunk in her,
Well,
you
she's.
know.
I think the whole point is this woman is basically begging for death,
Hmm.
right? And now, granted, I don't think Sophia knows that.
No,
Although I'll say that maybe she's thinking that more so because she saw what happened. Um,
what
because
the mental breakdown?
correct. So like
Yeah,
well, hear me out on this. If this woman is Sophia's not an idiot, okay? Well, we can agree to that.
yeah,
She has a better idea of who this woman is, meaning Penguin's mother, right? Based on this interaction, she has a much better idea of who Penguin's mother is. And based on how this mother has been acting, right? Not afraid to be killed, right? Because she's showing this sign of not being afraid to be killed, right? Like she's just like, why don't you just do it and get it done over with, right?
yeah.
Because that's
I
literally
mean,
what it is.
her mother knows for the fact that like, okay, no matter what, you have me here for my son. Either you're gonna keep me alive or you're not. So if you're gonna do it, just do it and let not drag this game
And
out.
but I think in weird as it sounds, when Sophia sees that mental break, and Sophia's then realizing, and this is just my opinion, and that doesn't mean I'm right, because Sophia's not an idiot. She's like, oh, although she is very smart when she's there, because Penguin's mother is smart. I got to give her
Yeah.
credit. Like she's very
Uh,
intelligent. Obviously, she's not where she needs to be right now because of her illness,
hmm.
and I think Sophia's aware of that and realizing, oh, this woman's not afraid of death, not just because she's not afraid of me, because she's okay with death right now, based on everything that's happening to her. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's the only thing that that's not the only reason why she's keeping her alive. I think she's obviously wanted to use it to mess with Oz for sure,
Hmm.
but I think a piece of that was, oh, she wants to die. Don't kill her. Don't do anything. We're gonna give her what she wants. We're not gonna allow that. But her words messed with Sophia big time. So anyway,
Oh yeah.
she steps out and then she gets her psychiatrist slash lover inside, telling her inside the room. Let me rephrase.
Yeah, yeah. Because that needs your clarification.
Actually, it does. And he's like, "Hey, we got a problem. I just heard from my friend who's a child psychologist stating that your cousin's kid says she remembers something, and you better go deal with it." So Sophia goes down there, and she's dressed in these fabulous fur coat, and she walks into the room. What looks like, by the way, like Arkham Asylum. By the way, I don't know if you caught on to that.
It did look like Arkham. Yeah.
And so this little girl is there, and she's basically like, I saw what I saw, and like, you're not gonna stop me anyway. And she's like, your mother was bad people, and you need to get used to that. And then Sophia sees the scars on the girl's arms, and realizing, why are you doing that to yourself? And the girl's just like, leave me alone. And that right then and there, Sophia realizes she's nothing. She's the same as her father.
Yep.
And honestly, that's when Sophia snaps and goes, I'm doing this the wrong way. So she agrees to meet with Penguin, um, to do a drug exchange for his mother, and they agree upon it the terms. She's gonna drive over to his place. They're gonna open the garage door. She's gonna come in. They're gonna make the exchange, and she's gonna be gone. That's the plan. So the vehicle gets there. Penguin's like, okay, Sophia, where are you? Come on, let's make the trade. Blah blah blah. And she's like, Oz, your mother said some things that resonated with me. And you know what? I'm changing the game. And he's like, what? And then that's when her minion or goon, whatever you want to call him, runs out and runs away. and he opens up the back. He doesn't see anybody, and I'm not gonna lie to you. When he opened up that trunk, did you or did you not think for 1 second that his mother was cut up into pieces?
I thought it was his mother. I was like, it's either a bomb or his mother, but because of the way that it was going around, I was like, it would have been poetry for it to be the same as what he did to her brother.
Correct.
So that's what I was thinking.
Correct. No, and that's one of the main reasons why I thought that was, who was there.
Hmm.
Anyway, he flips it open. It's a bomb, and then he runs away, and it explodes. And this is a pretty big explosion because it looked
Yeah,
like
it
it was
takes
gonna.
out the entire tunnel system.
That's what it looked like. And like
Yeah.
he's walking out. It honestly, and I know you haven't seen it yet, but it looked legitimately like the same scene in Joker 2, where it literally looks like there was an explosion that happened, and it just like everyone's in chaos. Nobody seems to know what's going on, and everyone's covered in soot.
Hmm.
However, Penguin gets hit in the face with a crowbar by a GCPD officer, the one that's on the Gigante payroll. He gets hit
Yep.
in the head and then taken away, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's only one episode left. Am I correct?
Yep. That's next week is the season finale.
So like, I don't know where we're gonna. Or let me phrase it this way: there's gonna be some
There's going
sort
to
of.
be a confrontation between Penguin and Sophia.
Yeah, that's all I know. That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all I
That
know.
is it.
And like, yeah, I also am surprised we didn't get Penguin wearing a top hat.
Yeah, I mean,
I
so
it
it
makes
was a
sense
play on it.
because of the movie he was watching with his mother,
The movie they were watching. Yeah,
which is hilarious because that looks legitimately like an outfit that Penguin wears,
that looked like a
which is
penguin outfit. Yep.
correct. So it's
Um.
like I get it, but like I for whatever reason was expecting it, and who knows? Maybe we get it at the end. I don't know. Either way, I don't think it really matters.
Something that I want to point out is that after Vic ran away from the
He's not
slums,
been heard of.
he hasn't been seen or heard from since.
Correct.
So obviously, Oz is either thinking he got killed or he jumped ship. Um, so I'm curious what happened is what's happened as well.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm just curious how this is gonna end. Because
Yeah.
Sophia now scares me more because she's now realizing I'm not gonna play the game. I'm gonna play my own game.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna do what I
Now
want.
she's going to be even more unpredictable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought her killing her whole family was making her unpredictable, but no, she's now completely
Can't wait to see
unpredictable.
what's going to happen. And like I said, we're supposed to hate him by the end of this. If this episode didn't like solidify how much we're not supposed to like him, I can't wait to see what he does next episode.
Oh, I'm assuming he kills Vic.
Oh, you think so? Okay. Okay.
That's my prediction right now because that's the only thing I can think of. Because killing his mother, I know this is gonna sound weird, is not gonna make me hate him because she's asked for it.
Yeah. True.
So, although if she had not asked for it, yes, I would say he would kill her. But I think he's going to kill Vic, and that's what's going to make us hate him. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's only one episode left. We're going to have to wait and see. And then after that, we go back to our regularly scheduled program on filming on Sundays,
Yeah.
um,
I know.
which will actually be nice. But anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much it for Penguin. Anything else?
No.
All right,
No, that was it.
let's
It
move
was a
on to the.
wild episode.
Well, speaking of wild episodes, I thought these two were so great. So one thing I want to say before we get into in depth on these two episodes is this show is a show that you have to watch. You can watch more than once and learn more things
Oh
because
yeah.
they gave us the clues in every episode without us even realizing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
they're so good with that. But anyway, so this episode, so the second to last episode was the final trial. They're walking through the woods and they legitimately make it to the where they began, where they trip. They legitimately trip over their shoes. Well, Agatha does. Did you just shut off your mic?
I did.
Okay.
I was trying to take a drink and I didn't want you to hear me slurping on my drink, so I was trying to be considerate.
You've already ruined it.
So don't worry, next time I won't do
So
it.
anyway, so they're walking around and they make it to the basically the beginning of the trial. or the beginning of the Witch's Road, and that's when Agatha loses her mind, basically, because she's like, "What do you mean this is it? We didn't get what we wanted. This shouldn't be the end. What's happening?" And then he's fine. Then Billy's like, "You know what? I'm done with this. We took off our shoes out of respect for the road. I'm done." So he puts his shoes on and teleports into a body bag, and that's not an exaggeration.
Nope,
Um,
they're in a morgue.
and they all pop out, and I don't know if you noticed. Did you notice when they popped out what each of them had?
Maybe
Okay, so you know what Agatha had,
her locket or
which
whatever.
had
The string, or it had her son's hair and a little flower seedling, I
which
guess.
had never been there before.
Yep.
And do you remember what was on Billy's book?
No.
So you remember how he looked at it and said, "This is useless."
Yeah.
It was covered in mud.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then when Jennifer came in, her effects were wet.
Okay.
What would happen if you put all those three together?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
So they were legitimately supposed to work together in this trial.
Mm.
However, it obviously didn't work out that way, which we'll talk about later anyway. But the trial was originally supposed to be for them to make life.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened, what obviously changed, was we find out that Agatha bound Jennifer.
Which means she was the one who was responsible for Jennifer not being able to use her magic for the last 100 years.
Correct. And to be fair, Agatha had no idea she had done it,
Yeah. No. It's
and
just like.
I believe that she actually had no clue.
No. Yeah. I mean,
As much as
she was just like, hey, it's just someone told me to do it, so I did it. What do you want from me?
it's either that or burn, and let's be honest, I'm not burning.
Yep.
And so we had that going on, and so that's when Jennifer does the unbounding ritual, which then releases her powers, and she has an emotional um, connection to her powers, and then she disappears out of the road.
She completes her trial.
Correct. Well, she got what she wanted from the road, so she was no longer needed to be there.
Yep.
So before this, though, which I forgot to mention, was Agatha met with Rio, who's death, and stated that you know the boy, I need to. The boy shouldn't be allowed to exist. He's an abnormality, and Agatha's like, just take him then. Just take him. Who cares? And that's when Agatha realizes you can't take him, can you? And she goes, no, he has to be willing to do it himself. And that's when Agatha goes, fine, I'll figure out how to do it. I got it. And so in this trial, she then
I,
decides,
I want to real quick. I loved the use of the backdrop for the episode of
oh,
just emphasizing Death being able to morph through reality and just walks up to the screen and cuts it and walks through and like just makes perfect use of a set instead of just using a green screen.
mm,
I loved that.
no,
So simple but so
so
impactful.
no, 100%, 100%, I agree. Um, Beautifully done, in my opinion. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, so Agatha's like, I'll convince him. So anyway, she in this trial then helps Billy find his brother, who apparently is drowning. Um, because you
The
have to remember,
boy is
well,
the body is drowning.
the
Not
kid. To be fair,
not Tommy.
well, his name is also Thomas, which is hilarious. Um, no, I
Well,
mean
either
like,
way, it's
no,
I
I
mean,
know, but
like
well,
it's
not
not his
wrong.
brother.
No, not yet. He's gonna put his brother in there. So this kid's drowning, and then he puts his brother in there, and then Billy disappears and causes a huge crack into the ground, and that's when Agatha grows the plant. Well, at first she's ready to give up because she figured she lost, right?
Hmm.
And then she found that and realizes, oh, I got to build life. Grows life, does so, and then the trial is over, and she realizes she won, but not really. It's a kind of weird thing, right? And so
Hmm.
she escapes into legitimately her backyard, which is it is her backyard, and Death is ready to kill her. And let me tell you, Death was perfect in the sense of being like, let's watch you die slowly with a million cuts, and then shatters glass and
Yep.
sends it flying towards her. Then she starts ripping her skin off with like whips of plants and power cords, and then ties her to the I don't even know what that was. Was that like a? It was something to do with plants, like something to help plants grow, like straight. You know what I'm talking about? Didn't that what it looked like?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what? Like oh,
I'm I'm
like
blanking on what
something
it's
they put
called.
with like tomato plants or like things with vines. Like
Yep,
you know
I
what I'm
know what
talking
you're
about.
talking about.
Anyway, so
I
she
for
just
some
told
reason I
her.
want to say trellis, but I know it's not a trellis. No, it
Anyway,
might be.
I don't
No, it
know.
might be a trellis.
All right, let the
Anyways,
landscaper figure it out.
um,
Um, hey, this is your area of expertise. It's not mine.
you're
So
the one
anyway,
with you're the one that has all this endless useless Wikipedia knowledge.
that's valid, but it's only when I don't need it, and that's valid. And I'm not wrong. So anyway, we have then Wiccan come and in his comic book accurate outfit and just slaps Death with a magic wave and then gives some of his power to Agatha, enough of it for her to be herself again. And then Death comes back, smacks Billy in the face with her magic,
Yeah,
takes
just
away
is
her
like
mind,
get out of here.
and then Agatha and Death begin to fight, and then it seems like an even fight to begin with, I'll say, and then Agatha gets slapped really hard with magic, and she's like, she's bleeding from the mouth, and he's like, "We'll fight her together," and she's like, "Don't even bother. She's inevitable. She's literally the only thing that comes for everyone," and she goes, "You know what? She wants me. I'll let her have me." And that's when Billy's like, "I'll take her place. I'll be the one to go." And then Agatha's like, "You heard him. He's all yours now. I'm out."
I did what I needed to do.
And she goes to walk away, and then he uses telepathy to be like, "Really? Is this how your son went away?" And that's when she takes the kiss of death, literally, and dies.
I have to say, for the fight scene between Rio and Agatha, the cackling back and forth between the two of them, just like going back and forth, just like Rio was like, "Oh my god, you're so sexy when you fight" or something, and Agatha's like, just like, "I'm sexy with everything I do," or so, like it was just a back and forth. I'm like, I love the fight, and just like they're they're flirting with each other while trying to kill each other. It's like it was so funny.
No, absolutely. And I think that was the point of it, where like I think in the back of her mind, Agatha knew she wasn't going to beat her,
Yeah, she
but
can't beat her. Like that's the
but
like
she
that.
knows it. She knew it.
Yeah,
She knew it going into it, and I don't think she went. My question is though, do you think she legitimately was going to sell Billy out?
like before Billy like started messing with her. Like, do you
Yes.
think that was her plan the entire time?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
I here's my issue, right? And here's my thought process. I think she legitimately tried to help Billy because in the trial, right? Because she thought she was going to die. She didn't
Mhm.
think she was going to beat the trial, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And so she legitimately was trying to help her there. When she gets out, she's like, she's thinking how she's going to get out of this because realistically, in her mind, there was no way she was getting out of it. At least until Billy showed up, there was no way she was getting out of it. She was dead.
Oh
She was
yeah,
dead.
she had no powers. She had no way to defend herself. Yeah.
Correct. And so once she got her powers, I don't even think that was her plan even then. It wasn't until he said it, and then she goes, "You know what? I'm going to use this as my opportunity, my out. So, peace out."
I think no matter what her plan was, because she knows Billy
She was her.
is a
I'll say this.
caring.
I think no matter what, she was always looking out for number one,
Yeah.
for sure. I don't think it was always the same thought of what that would look like throughout the entire episode.
Like I don't think she had like every moment planned out where it was like, oh, they're gonna get
No,
their
she's an
butts
opportunist.
kicked, and then
She's no,
then he was gonna sacrifice himself. I don't think it was gonna be that situation. I think no matter what, she was gonna try to manipulate it so that way Billy will either trick himself into offering himself or some kind of manipulation that way she could get out alive.
yep.
Like you said, during the trial, she was definitely trying to help Billy there because she knew in the situation that she didn't know how she could get out because
Well, that was the whole
she
thing.
hadn't seen the locket yet, so she didn't know what she was supposed to do.
Correct. Well, she had seen it, but
Um,
she didn't open it.
yeah,
And so
well,
that's a
yeah, she didn't know
unfortunate.
what her task was.
Correct. And so
Um,
that plays a big role in it. But I agree with you on that part. But yes, so Billy convinces her
like
otherwise.
this episode, I absolutely loved this episode. This episode was incredible. I loved the fight. I loved Agatha and Rio going back and forth. I loved Wiccan coming in. I loved his character and how he came into being himself. I loved how the witches were helping each other in the basement dash morgue.
Yep.
Um,
And the
and
character
I
growth.
and the character growth in that one little scene, and then just in general, like with Agatha and Rio at the beginning of it, where it's like Agatha was like, I will give you the boy as long as you stay away from me," and that kind of leads into the next episode with how like their checkered past. Um,
Yeah, which we also didn't get all the answers we were hoping for.
no, not all the answers. Which obviously, with the way the series ended, clearly it's going to continue in some form or another.
Yes, which we kind of
Um,
figured anyway.
well,
Um,
this was supposed to, because this was a limited series. You know,
well,
you
this is
know.
also part two of a series, technically.
Yes, yes.
So,
This is
and
part
there's
two. We just this
and
is
there's a
it's
rumor
going to
that
be continued in a different way.
and the rumor is, and I don't know how true this is because this still has not been confirmed. This has
Hmm.
been talked about since WandaVision first ended. Was Vision's quest?
Yep. There's three rumored shows or dash movies.
Speed
There's supposed to be Speed. There's supposed to be Vision,
and Scarlet Witch.
and there's supposed to be a Scarlet Witch movie.
Correct.
Um.
But all
So
of which is supposed to be continuation of this storyline.
yep, this is
Um,
all one big story. And like I said, Agatha and Wanda, those two TV shows were limited series, so they're supposed to be one season and done, and then continue with a different show,
correct. Correct. Which I think
or
was
a movie.
whatever it may be. Correct. But the idea is it's not the end. So, what did you think about the last episode? Oh, we
So
actually well before we go on to that, we do have to mention that when Billy gets home, we find out it's only been 24 hours. Time has passed.
yep, he's been lost for just he went missing for one day. Yep,
Correct. And he realizes that his room reminds him a lot of the Witch's Road.
yep.
And then he gets
Everything with this show has been teased in the past in previous episodes, and like he didn't realize that he was
which you don't know
I
yet.
mean, which we did not find out until next episode, that
Well, we
he
didn't get it confirmed
manipulated
then.
everything.
Correct. This was heavily hinted in this episode for sure.
Yeah.
And somebody was behind him, and it sounded like Agatha.
Yep.
And then this next episode was. Here's my thing. This episode was incredible, and I know you don't feel the same way. Um,
So overall, I thought the episode was okay. I thought it was good.
I'll say this.
I thought it was good.
I will agree with you that this was not the best episode for sure.
Yeah.
However, this was still a great episode in my opinion.
So here's my thing with it. Like, this was a great episode. Don't get me wrong. I thought that if I thought it was a weak finale. I thought that the way that the show with the previous episode had ended, if that was the season finale, absolutely incredible, great. Now, coming into this episode, how the episode started, giving us the past. I loved seeing Agatha with her son. I loved that entire build up
All
and
right, so
how,
before you continue, do you know what the thought process is of why Death was there to begin with?
like, at the very beginning,
Hmm.
the son, her son was dying at the beginning. Like,
He was supposed to be stillborn.
yeah, he was stillborn.
And do you know why he was going to be stillborn?
No,
What is Agatha's power?
she was stealing his life.
Without trying.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that's so painful.
Oh, doesn't that make you sick? Because it makes me sick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
She was. So here's the thing that kills me, though. And this is going to sound really weird. Death. Agatha made it worse than what it should have been. Death should have taken the kid right away. And I know I sound awful saying it. Because, first off, I understand every child deserves to live, blah, 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 all that stuff, whatever. But the main thing here is.
yeah, just shove it aside.
I'm just like, whatever. My point I'm making is this kid was supposed to be dead, right? She has the power or the influence to manipulate death enough to allow the stoppage of his death,
Hmm.
postpone it, let's say,
Yeah.
which happened, right?
Mhm.
And so I'll say this. I thought she was killing witches to keep her son alive. But that's not the case.
No, 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 no. That was not what happened whatsoever. So,
No,
so
I
like,
legitimately thought that was the reason until
yeah,
obviously after he died.
yeah. No, I thought that I agree with you. I thought the entire buildup they were killing witches to give him power, and when death still came in the middle of the night and just took him.
But no, no, no. No. So here's the thing. It was because that was the only night she didn't kill a witch. Because remember, he had left. So that's what really solidified for me that that was the case, and
Yeah.
I was wrong. Because the moment she buried her son, she decided to kill more witches.
Hmm.
And do you know the thought process of why she's killing witches? It's
Well,
something very simple, and
to,
it's not the obvious one.
I
And
mean,
maybe,
so obviously the obvious one would be to get more power.
although that's a great side effect, that's not the reason.
It's more also just like I guess memory of her son and like that kind of stuff with the Witch's Road. All right, so what is it?
Because of her mother. You should have never existed. We should kill you. You're not. You are not. You shouldn't be in existence. And she blames all witches for that.
I'm not. I don't understand.
Agatha was attacked by her coven,
Yep.
going to be killed at the stake. Right.
Yep.
Agatha, right, took that as all witches are bad and no witch deserves to live except for her, because all
Mm-hmm.
witches are bad.
Yep.
So that's why
Okay,
she
I get
hates
it.
witches. Now, granted, don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
okay. So
Yeah,
she's
no,
she's
she's a
tying that as a bad experience.
correct. Don't get me wrong. Is she also getting power and she likes that? Yes. Is that her only reason for doing it? No. So we also find out that the sun in her created the Witch's Road song, which is
Yep.
incredible, and the fact that it was a myth to begin with, and it never existed to begin with. That
It was an it was a
Agatha
lie
used
the entire time.
Agatha
Agatha
used.
never finished the road.
Well, what's funny is she only did that to bring witches out of hiding, because the idea was at that point in time witches were hiding. Because if you remember, this was after Salem witch trials, and the witches were never together. If you noticed, they had to go hunting for them.
There were some that were together. The
Yeah,
first group
but
when
what I'm saying is, but they were also away from society. Is the point I'm making?
oh yeah.
They weren't
Yep.
easy to be found. So my point I'm making is that, and the fact that she used the witch's road, which never existed, to create a reason for witches to join her, and then get mad, attack her, and then kill them.
Yep.
Which, by the way, those outfits for all those decades,
Oh yeah.
perfect,
We're so good.
so good.
And then it would just make it like you said, if you go back and watch this and see everything that happens, like for example, at the very first episode, when we had said this at the beginning that she was surprised that the witch's road had actually appeared, and it's because she's sitting there going, "The road isn't real. What is going on?" And like it's that instance of like this show makes so much more sense now
Oh,
going
100%.
back.
Well, because the other thing too is it's like when talking about Agatha's the only one to have lived the road, and they're like, how many people have lived the road like in your coven? Well, which is not wrong.
No,
She didn't
every
lie.
every time she's completed the road, she was the only one to show up.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah, it's just
I
it
mean,
also.
even just
I
throughout
also
the
like.
entire show, where
But I was gonna say
yeah,
I like the tie-in when we go through all the witches' roads, right? And then all of a sudden we get
mm-hmm.
to the final one, and she's like, "Oh no, I guess there's no real witch here. What are you going to do?" And then all of a sudden Sharon's like, "Hey, there's a door," and
Yeah,
Agatha's like, "What?"
uh huh,
And then
uh
Billy
huh.
comes in and is like, "Is that the road? Bye, I'm out."
I love that. I love that. And I mean, even at that moment, you see the what was it? The realization that that was actually like she realized that that was the son of Wanda because only one witch has that power.
Yes.
Um,
I'll say this. She narrowed it down to two. She narrowed it down to either be her son or Billy.
or her. Yeah,
Yeah. So very curious on that front. I also have to say, just well done, and also we did get confirmation that the Salem Seven died.
yeah,
All of
yeah.
them died,
I was a little disappointed with that.
but I wasn't mad about it. I know that sounds weird to
No,
say. Death was like they were delicious. Like it was great.
yeah, it's just like yeah, whatever.
Honestly, you gave me so much death, and I love it. And then
um,
the it's but tell me I'm wrong though. She legitimately said
no,
almost exactly that.
yeah, no. That's she literally said that. I was just disappointed that we didn't see all seven of them. Yeah,
I get it, but I guess I think it makes more sense now why they didn't matter.
yeah. Um,
Um, but yeah,
overall, in that aspect, I the only reason they were kind of there was just to push them along into the story. Like they didn't really have a real significant to the plot. The only thing
no,
that it was, oh, we're trying to run away from them. That was really it.
correct. And I also like when we saw every single trial, Agatha's looking around trying to figure out what the hell's going on because
Yep.
she legitimately didn't know what was going on,
No, she didn't know what was going on because she wasn't the one in charge of this.
nor had she ever been there before. And
Nope.
I think the interaction with so spoiler alert, as I've given everything else away so far.
I mean, this entire episode has been a spoiler.
Well, now they're getting a spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, we get the spoiler at the very end.
Correct. The other thing too, so Agatha's a ghost now, so she's now a ghost with unfinished business because she doesn't want to be facing her son.
Hmm.
Um, and let's be honest, it makes more sense that she's a ghost because she didn't want to be seen by death.
Hmm.
Because the only way for her to actually go away is for death to bring her, and
Hmm.
she don't want to be near death. Um, but anyway, so she then basically insults Billy and was like, "Hey, I can't believe you created the road. Like, obviously, you're just like your mother." And he's like, "I killed all those people." And she's like, "To be honest with you, get over it. This is what it's like feeling like a witch." And then she's like, "You realize you, if anything, you saved one life because I would have killed them all in the basement day one," which is not a lie.
I saw a comment after, and it made me laugh because it was she had all the witches over there, and she had planned to absorb their power. So basically, her plan was like, "What's your plan with Mrs. Hart?" She was just going to absorb all their powers and then just strangle Mrs. Hart to death after. You know, like what? Miss she had no power to absorb from Mrs. Hart, so
No,
it's
but the idea was she needed a fifth person.
no.
The idea that's why
I
she
know.
no. So the idea was she took Mrs. Hart because she legitimately just needed a body.
Yeah, no.
She picked and
I
the only
know
reason
that.
and the only reason why she picked Mrs. Hart was because of the black heart.
Hmm.
So like if it was any other reason, like if they would have given if he didn't read what that little thing was, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
She would have just grabbed some random stranger.
No, yeah. I mean, and she wouldn't have even had another person. She would have just had it with them.
I mean, I
But
guess
yeah, the only reason she went to go get Mrs. Hart was because
they were insistent.
Wiccan said they needed one more.
Correct.
And
And she was ready to absorb their powers, and then it didn't happen.
yep.
But yeah, I it just yeah, it was
So,
it was
like I
very good.
said, I loved the beginning part. I just wasn't a fan of her becoming a ghost. I understand it in for the story, overall story. I just think in the overall like scenario of it, I think that for this show it hurt it more because like I said, the end of the last episode she had just died and basically immediately after you're undoing her death. Like
Well, all right. So here's
so like doesn't give us a chance to process what happened and it's already been reversed.
well,
I understand that's technically not the same thing of like how I'm saying it, but
no, but
that's how.
I get your point though. She wasn't gone long enough to miss her. I get
Yeah.
it. But I don't think the idea was to miss her. I think because if you notice, she was basically like a phoenix. She's been reborn in a very
Yeah.
different way. Obviously, as a ghost, and she is a much more comic book accurate outfit and appearance now. Um, and ironically, that particular scene is almost verbatim from a comic, where it's her as a ghost talking to Wanda, and Wanda being like, "What are you doing here?" She goes, "I'm here to guide you on the witch's road."
No.
And obviously, that witch's road is real,
Yeah.
but obviously very different. Um, so anyway, I'm just very curious to see where they're going to go in the future. Obviously, we're going to be getting Speed because Speed has now officially been introduced um, in this episode
Well,
in this series. Well, no, he has been.
hinted at.
He's in. So yeah, I liked it. I do agree with you though that I feel like they should have done some sort of mix up where we got the backstory of the Witch's Road before the fight scene, and somehow I feel
Yeah,
like it would have been better. Um,
I think I think what could have happened to make it flow a little bit better was when Agatha left her basement and went outside. Instead of, like you said, I like how you said that. Instead of going into the straight into the fight scene,
we get the
they
flashback.
did the backstory and then saved the fight for the finale.
Correct.
Um,
Because now we know. Because then we see Wiccan get introduced, who then shows, oh, he's the reason for the road.
mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And that's all a big reveal. And again, that's semantics because it still was a great show.
No, 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 no. It was an amazing show.
But I do agree with
Um,
you that I feel like they've mixed up a little bit the last two episodes, and not so much like the order of them, but just the sequence of how things happened. I
yeah.
think lost me a little bit, but I still loved it. Like the story itself was incredible.
No, it was like I said, it was a great story. I just thought that the as for a finale, it wasn't as good as the previous two episodes.
That's fair.
So for like overall show, because the finale wasn't like, the finale of the show is like one of the major is an important factor of the show, so it ends up hurting it a little bit. Like, I'm not saying that the show was bad, absolutely not.
He's
It was
obvious.
absolutely incredible. What?
Nothing. I'm talking to the audience.
Oh, okay, you smack talking.
I am. That's it. No, he 100% is saying so. But no, I agree. All right. So are you ready to talk about my character spotlight?
Yep, talk about Jen. Let me know what she's like in the comics.
Okay. So she's actually the only one out of this entire group. I'm gonna say that has a huge comic book history.
Oh,
So this character was created in 1972. Guess where she's from in guess where this character's from?
New York.
No. Florida, you idiot. So, Jennifer and her
Why
brother.
Florida?
You'll understand in a minute. Florida,
Okay.
because of Florida Man, is where the apex, the nexus of all realities are. Obviously, you idiot. And
Okay.
I say it that way for a reason. So anyway, so she was always curious about witchcraft, and she was raised by her grandfather Joshua in Citrusville, I think is how you pronounce it, Florida. Nobody ever knows the status of her birth parents. It seems to never have been truly known. She was curious about witchcraft, began independent study of it. She wished to borrow a particular book from her grandfather's library, but he refused. Obviously she's determined, so she sneaks the book out and enlisted her brother Andy as her assistant. She considered it to be her family heritage, and she painstakingly studied the book. Long forgotten language and symbolism inside of the tombs of the book. Having acquired the tools for the ritual for a local head from a local head shop, took to the Everglades to perform the ritual. Andy, her brother, was very much against this, but she decided to do it anyway. However, during this, she was actually watched by Man Thing, who happens to be the guardian of the Nexus of Realities, which is also in Florida. At first, it appeared that the ritual had failed, which disappointed Jennifer. However, she had successfully created a nether spawn to emerge from a rift, which Man Thing was able to witness because he is the guardian of the nexus of all realities. So she gets disappointed that she failed, and she goes to take her brother to a movie, specifically a horror movie because that was her thing. She loves horror films. Why is that important to the story? I don't know, but they wanted to make it very clear that she's a horror fan fanatic. Um, During the movie, though,
I dig it.
the nether the nether spawn rips out of the screen, goes through and tries to kill Jennifer. Jennifer realizes it's trying to kill her, and she begins to run away. Man Thing, however, burns it to a crisp to protect Jennifer and her brother. However, apparently Man Thing, although was able to melt it like he does in Werewolf at Night, you know when he touches people, he like melts them.
Hmm.
Well, he has the same powers here, obviously, but what the difference here is the demon actually respawns himself. He brings himself back to from the dead, and that's when Jennifer and her brother decide to help Man Thing to stop the Nether spawn, which they're able to do not easily. I'll say that. So she begins to learn how to use magic. During this, she teams up with a bunch of people. This was also still in the 70s where Marvel Comics was a little weird. Um, she teamed up with Man Thing a lot to defend Earth, which is always a weird thing for me. Um, that she's teamed up with him. I don't know why, but it's just funny to me. At one point, Man Thing dies, and she's actually the one to actually bring him back from the dead because she needs him back specifically for the reason that he's the guardian of the nexus of all realities, and he's needed to exist, and she can't do it alone. And so that's why she brings him back from the dead, also to kind of because she likes him, not in a romantic way, just in general.
She
Um,
finds them amusing.
well, they've worked together for so long, I guess is the best way to phrase it. So she begins to. So again, Man Thing apparently dies again. Big shocker. And she begins to try to save the swamp because with Man Thing no longer being in the swamp, we have shockingly American business people trying to tear up the swamp to build an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And so she comes down more powerful than she has been because she's been practicing her craft, came down to protect the swamp, to protect the nexus of all realities. She's able to do so, and she's had to team up with the weirdest group of people on the planet, which apparently was Daredevil, Black Widow, Howard the Duck. It's just a weird group of people I wasn't prepared by. All right. Um, she obviously protects it and saves it. She then joins. So then there's like a revamp of her. So like, all right. So that was like her first version, and then there's a new version of her now, like a modern day version of her. So her modern day version is very similar. The difference here is her family wants her to move to California to go to school to learn things other than magic. So she could do other things than being a sorcerer. Um, and she tries to do so, but shockingly, the magical world brings her back in, where she has to team up with Man Thing once again to defeat um, a demon possessed Fing Fang Foom, who I don't know if you know this is just a massive dragon.
Okay.
Fun fact, do you know who she's the cousin of?
Yes, I sent you a picture of it actually.
And it is.
uh, hold on. Timeout. Timeout.
We'll wait for
Almost
that.
there. Any second now.
Almost there, almost there, almost there,
Almost there.
almost there, almost there, almost
Almost
there.
there. It is Johnny Blaze.
Correct. So anyway, so she has a tie with Ghost Rider because of that. So she's had to team up because of this. She's teamed up with Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider. Isn't that funny?
It is. It is quite comical.
Um, which is hilarious to me because it's just two characters I wouldn't think are related in any way. She
No,
then has
no.
to face the furries, which the Furies are the three harpies in Hades' underworld.
I like that you turned your face to avoid the cough, but because the microphone is attached to your head, it does absolutely nothing.
I realized that after. So anyway, she's also done many other things. So she there was one point where so she's had to face obviously the harpies and Blackheart. Blackheart, who is the son of Mephisto, who we didn't talk about in Agatha All Along, but we still didn't get him. And am I heard about it? Yeah. Anyway,
I thought you said you were satisfied that they got mentioned.
Shut up. So anyway, she fights. She has to fight Blackheart and everything else. We then have her trying to bring Howard the Duck back to his world, which is apparently Duck World. Don't ask questions. Um, and instead, the spell went bad, and instead of sending Howard home, she transplants Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy into her apartment. Now I know what you're saying, Scott. That's not correct. It's Moon Girl. Well, there's multiverse theory, and yes, there is a Moon Boy. I'm not even exaggerating. She also was endowed with the power of eternity, um, which apparently chose Jennifer as a vessel for its power, which she used to send Ghost Rider to a universe where he was needed to stop Mephisto, which I find interesting.
Oh, cool.
So I know you know who Eternity is. We actually saw them in um, Love and Thunder.
Did we?
Yeah, that was where the little girl turned into Eternity.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. She's also teamed up with X Force. Um, she's tried to She's worked with Lotus, Locust, Meltdown, Warpath, Skids, and Sunspot, along with Moonstar as well. Well, Moonstar, I'm not sure who the hell that is. But anyway, we then go back to the witches. She becomes working with witches once again and begins to work with, hilariously enough, her brother Andrew, now a college student in New York, met a man who claimed to have known their grandfather. In truth, they were basically sent to the hell. This was the Hell Lord Mardon Curious in disguise. So shocking. And at the New York Public Library, the devil tricked Andy into opening a cursed volume of the tomb of Zerad Na. Um, and apparently both brought evil creatures into the dimension and thus transformed her brother into a hellish monster. So she has to go there, teaming up with none other than Wong, the greatest sorcerer supreme ever to exist, um, and Topaz, who apparently is somebody who is also a sorcerer, to team up to defeat and bring their brother back. Well, bring her brother back in. And during this time too, she also oh, is this who I think it is? Sorry, Lilith. Is that who I think it is? It isn't it? Sorry. Um, isn't it? Isn't she from? She is. Okay. Um, you know Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
So Lilith is the demon that's the main villain of that story outline, and Jennifer has gone toe to toe against this demon, and actually has been a part of the Midnight Suns. And in fact, during her time in the Midnight Suns, she was also part of. Remember how we talked about how when the Civil War happened and Shield decided to have designated heroes in charge of each state, and they were in charge of dealing with gathering up heroes that are unregistered.
Mm.
Jennifer joined the Florida State Initiative team. She fought Skrulls during the secret invasion, and in fact was the reason, funny enough, that Headpool exists.
Yeah.
So during many portals opening, a zombified Deadpool came in um, to attack everyone. Jennifer managed to mince the zombie on a fan of a fan boat and left nothing but his head, which is why he's literally just a floating head in the comics.
It's funny.
I do find that funny, and I find that hilarious to me. So we then finally have. So she eventually gets killed, and I believe she gets killed by. My apologies. So she was also a great friend of Maria Hill, who we also know. She was attacked by Daniel Drum possessing Victoria Hand in her home in Miami. She was defeated, and though her ultimate fate was initially unclear, um, she was cleared dead at one point. However, because she was practicing dark magic at the time, she had not actually been killed. Well, let me rephrase this. She was killed by Drum's assault on her. However, she was able to bring herself back from the dead using dark magic. However, because it's dark magic, she was unable to bring herself back fully, and because of that, her right side of her face, was it the right side of her face or the left side of her face? The right side of her face was horribly scarred because of it, and she took up residence in the castle within the Nexus of all realities, becoming the mystic guardian of the Nexus. She kept her resurrection a secret from everyone except for her friend Maria Hill. She has gone toe to toe against others again. Normally, when Maria Hill needs magical assistance, which I find kind of funny, and Jennifer and Man Thing were aided by Scarlet Witch and Joseph in defending Citrusville from creatures of Serpentinians, which are basically creatures from another dimension.
Okay.
And that, my
Okay.
friends, is the comic book history of none other than Jennifer Kale, who has a detail. And I was actually cutting it short because there was a lot more she's done, but I had to
Oh,
cut it
jeez.
short. No, there
Yeah,
was a lot. Yeah.
that was a
So
lot.
no, it was a lot, and I cut it down. So anyway, her powers are highly skilled sorcerer. Shocking, right? Um, she's described her own innate sorcery as both psychic and empathic. Ultimately, this power is derived from three magical sources: soul, body, and mind, derived through developing one's own psychic resources, gaining the powers from the universe, where she can basically create fire magical bolts, form shields, open dimensional portals, mesmerize others, and affect memories of others, conjure items, teleport herself and others, and cast numerous other spells with a variety of efforts. Excuse me. She also has a psychic link with Man Thing. Why is that a power she has? I don't know. She's also possessed the normal strength of a woman of her age, height, and who engages in moderate, regular exercise. She's multilingual and apparently of languages that most people don't, like of archaic tongue, like pre Cladisum Atlantis. So, like pre Namor. She knows their language as well. Don't, yeah. I don't. wish I had a better answer for you than that. Oh, apparently this is fun. While attending Seaview College, she studied on a MBA track, which switching to a double major in painting and interpretive dance. I don't know why I had an issue saying that word. She was in a Jennifer is associated with the star card in the practice of tarot reading, and thus is linked to ancient pacts of the elder goddess Astu. And the reason why that's a big thing there is because her costume in the comics is very similar to that goddess. And some fun facts, really quickly, is Jennifer's bisexual and has attended at least 3 different universities. Why did you want to know that? I don't know. Felt like saying it.
Yeah, just cause.
Just cause. And what's funny is her outfit looks like the Scarlet Witch's outfit, but white. White and black, to be specific. So that, my friends, is Jennifer Kale. Obviously, we got a taste of her in Agatha All Along, and most likely going to be seeing her again, potentially with her cousin, Johnny Blaze.
Things to look forward to.
Correct. Well, everyone, next week we're going to be talking about the season finale or series finale of Penguin. Then we're going to be. That's it.
That should be it for next week,
And we're
unless
going to get
something
a
else
bunch of
pops up.
trailers. We're going to get a million trailers just
Yeah,
because
so
there is.
probably.
So we're going to be talking about
Something
all that.
that people are talking about that I'm seeing online before I forget, I wanted to say this when we were talking about Penguin. People are hoping that Pattinson's Batman shows up in the finale of Penguin. Um,
I heard he was not going to do
I've
it.
heard from Matt Reeves that they wanted to keep him out of it, but I am seeing a lot of comments that make sense because it's like everything going on in Gotham, like with like what is happening with Penguin. That's something that the Batman would be looking into. Like, I won't be upset if he's not in there, but if they bring him in, even if it's just for like a second, uh,
I have a feeling they're going to show that he's existing and knows what's going on, but
yeah,
not see him. If you
No,
understand what I'm
yeah.
saying.
I mean, people are saying like they're surprised that they haven't even mentioned the Batman. But it's like Batman hasn't been around for that long. He's only been around for a year, and even in the movie, like the Penguin wasn't
Didn't exist,
intimidated by him.
and also
So
still didn't thought to exist until that movie.
yeah. So I mean, like the Penguin, like when we saw him, Oz just was like, "Who are you? Why should I care about you?" And only like he hunted him down, and that's when he started getting nervous because, but otherwise, like he wasn't really intimidated by him yet.
Correct.
Um,
But
so like I
like I
said,
said,
if he shows up, I think it'll work and it would be cool. But if he doesn't show up, I don't think it would take away from the show.
correct. All right, well, that's going to be it for tonight. We're going to, like I said, next week we're going to be talking about any trailers that come out. We're talking about the series finale of Penguin and a character spotlight from Mike. But for now, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel podcast. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.